having spent 20 years of my life running, walking, dancing, doing anything I wanted when I wanted, but actually from a day to another, waking up from a nap and not being able to move and having to call an ambulance, it was very hard for me.
I'm Joshua Ung, host of Got Game. I've invited 6 youth with disabilities from across the country to meet me at a board game cafe just outside of Ottawa to talk about our experiences while we play some games.
I've got game because, in spite of my visual impairment, I'm always able to see the bigger picture.
First up is Carly Fox, a neurodivergent disability advocate with idiopathic arthritis living in Ottawa.
I got game because I play outside of the rules.
Next is Joe Fornacier, a blind hockey player and TikTok influencer from Burlington, Ontario.
I got game because every piece of adversity that's thrown at me makes me stronger, so I'm pretty much invincible.
Alicia Chenier is a blind motivational speaker, actor, and activist from Sudbury, Ontario, who also lives with a brain tumor.
I've got game because I have the fire and the power to create change and authentically be myself.
Noah Vucic is a public speaker and Paralympic long jumper in the intellectual disabilities category from Calgary, Alberta.
I got game because of my confidence and perseverance and just being willing to try new things and seek out as many opportunities as I can.
Also from Calgary is Marilou Landry, an actor and pageant contestant living with functional neurological disorder and partial hearing loss.
I got game because I am resilient and I always find a way to rise above.
And finally, Ana Vallejo Perez, a Kelowna, BC-based creative writer and musician who uses a wheelchair due to brittle bone disease.
I got game because I want to do everything and I will try to do everything.
Today, we're playing You Know What I'm Saying? A word guessing game where players give hints without saying the actual word until someone gets it right. This is Got Game.
Okay, it's
Let me lock in.
it's beef. It's between 2 buns.
Hamburger.
Damn. Oh, we're going fast. Okay.
Oh, I'm,
All right.
I'm moving this so I can be.
It's
Chirping me for locking in.
when you can't have something or you can't be exposed to something because you
allergies.
Wow, wow.
My brain is not.
Can you charade?
I'm not getting
All
a
right,
single one of
and
these.
then, okay, it's like you want to know more about someone.
Curiosity.
Internet.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even cheat.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay.
Alicia.
Okay, you get this after finishing a program at a public
Degree. Certificate. Diploma.
Bachelor.
Dude.
I'm sweet.
All right, we have to lock in. Carly.
He's just spewing so many words at once.
It's my best
Okay.
strength. Okay.
This can happen on cruises
Drowning.
No.
and
Getting imprisoned.
and you can,
Water slide.
no and like
Tanning.
Make a wish.
someone
Make-A-Wish was a cruise.
and like a person can be and
Killed. Murdered.
no, it's not the
Titanic.
no, they'll say this often, but it's not something good that happens.
Pirates.
Mayday. Mayday?
Pirates. Boarding.
Nope. Oh.
Gun. Armed robbery.
On a
SOS.
cruise?
SOS.
Pirates.
What kind of a
Pirates are crazy.
No, more realistic.
You fall off
Die.
the boat.
Yeah, but what's the word?
Overboard.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my
Hell yeah.
Wow, wow.
Wow.
If you say enough words loud enough, really
I
fast,
never
one has
heard
to
a
get
word
right.
in my life. I don't know what a word is.
Oh.
That's okay.
Okay. It's on the water.
Boat,
What
Yacht.
kind?
kayak,
know.
canoe,
Kayak.
Sailboat,
So
sailboat,
you can
sailboat,
live in it.
sailboat.
Sailboat.
houseboat.
Yeah.
Dude,
What?
what are we talking?
Sorry. I'm competitive.
Okay, so Carly, you made the game.
I'm actually,
You got game. Hell yeah.
It's just rigged.
Are you another creator?
I'm actually sick to my stomach right now.
be.
All right, Marilou.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. I guess so.
All right, my bad. Can you tell us about your disability?
Yes, so I have a few things. So first thing first, I'm hard of hearing of my right ear. So I have like half a eardrum, but it does not move enough for me to hear from my right ear. So that is one of my things. I also have ADHD. I was diagnosed at 15, and the same time as depression and anxiety, which I am still dealing with to this day, but I'm getting there. We're doing this. And I also have to physical disability-ish. So I got a concussion in May of 2023. It never properly healed, so I got the post-concussion syndrome. With that I was getting shocks in my spine, I was getting blurry vision, I felt like I was drunk, literally. But one time I woke up from a nap and I could not feel my legs. I was stuck in my bed, I couldn't move, I did not know what was happening. So I went to the hospital and I spent 10 days there to be diagnosed with functional neurological disorder. It's like something's wrong, but we don't know why it's causing this, that it doesn't connect. So with that, I started doing different things, seeing a lot of professionals, which brought me to have other diagnoses, which 2 weeks ago, I was officially diagnosed with a type of Ehlers-Danlos. We actually don't know like how bad it is yet because it's such a new diagnosis, but it explains a lot because Ehlers-Danlos, basically it's a genetic disorder, a genetic condition of tissue impacting. So for me, I had a hip surgery at 19 and it was obviously caused because of that. And then, yeah, so it impacts everything on how I move, how I do things, which also explained a bit the walker and the cane and could have impacted with my concussion to create FND. So it's a mix of things, but we're getting there. We're learning about it.
Although Marilou is now a theater student at the University of Calgary, she's originally from Edmundston, New Brunswick.
For me, when I was growing up, I always felt different in a sense. Like there was a lot of things happening in my life, but also I always sensed like I was different. I was like a nerd, but I was never fitting with anyone. And I was always wondering if it was because of the different issues I was facing, like with my health, family or anything, or if it was just me.
While dealing with multiple physical and mental health issues, Marilou also had a difficult home life.
I live a bit all over the place with my family. Things were just not working out from our sides. And so at 15 years old, I ended up in foster care. I was there for a bit less than 6 months, I believe, because other challenges arose and I didn't feel comfortable there. So after I left foster care, my only option was to go on a living alone governmental program. So at 16 years old, I was living alone, learned how to cook, clean. I did not know how to wash an oven. And honestly, I'm still not always so sure how to do it.
Through it all, Marilou held on to her dream of becoming an actor. After graduating high school, she moved to Calgary for university at the age of 19.
I always dream of being in a big city, especially in my dreams of being an actor. I was finally achieving what I wanted to do, and I proved everyone wrong that even if I had to have 2 jobs while being in school full-time and living alone, I was still doing it, even if it felt a bit harder and abnormal than everyone.
Marilou believes all of these challenges helped prepare her for her functional neurological disorder diagnosis, which has severely impacted her mobility.
I never expected to have to use a walker and a cane at 20 and now 21 years old. And it's very annoying because some days I'm really fine and some days I'm not, but I feel like not having those challenges at 15, the feeling like an outsider and as if I was not anyone or worthy of anything, worthy of friends, worthy of family, worthy of being someone and loving myself, I don't think I would have been able to sustain everything that happened when I got sick physically if it was not from like that unfortunate preparation.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back.
You're like messy.
Dirty. Disorganized.
Disorganized.
Unorganized.
Unfortunate.
Oh, I almost said it. No, you're. Oh, the sauce
in the hands.
fell out of the can, and there's tomato sauce everywhere, and I'm just so.
Clumsy. Clumsy, clumsy, lazy.
This is just me. This is describing me. Is
We're
it
just so
Anna?
close that I don't know.
Ooh.
I got nothing.
I got none.
Give one more example here.
You got this.
So like, I spilt the Doritos on the floor. Like I'm just so.
Oh,
Baked.
lousy?
What's my arm? Oh, my oatmeal spilled all over my shirt. Like I'm just so.
Messy,
I'm
dirty.
a creative writing major. I
Stained.
should
Stained.
Bad fortune.
Guys, we're like right there. We're like
we
right
are.
there.
I feel like clumsy is what I would say.
Or messy,
Klutz,
yeah.
Such a klutz or like.
All right, what is it? What is it?
Sloppy.
Oh.
Dude, oh my gosh.
The part of that is that no one uses that word.
This shit relates to Joe.
Marilou, can you tell us about your transition from being someone with invisible disabilities to now having visible disabilities?
Yeah, so having developed it only a year and a half ago, like having spent 20 years of my life running, walking, dancing, doing anything I wanted when I wanted, but actually from a day to another, waking up from a nap and not being able to move and having to call an ambulance, it was very hard for me. I felt like I was really different. I was not me anymore. And it made it very hard for me to accept myself. But like I changed a lot of my mindset of like, okay, everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why you are giving this challenge. But especially with everything I've went through the years in my life, I was like, why is this happening again? Like, what did I do wrong? And I was blaming myself a lot for it. So I'm not really sure the reason, but I do know that it helped me achieve my goals in a different way that I thought they would happen. But it was very hard, especially like having invisible to now learning how to deal with a visible disability.
Is that why me attitude something that anyone here experienced when first becoming aware of their disability?
I've always lived with my blindness. So as I've gotten older, like, you know, at 16, everyone's getting driver's licenses, and I was like, learning the bus routes. And so I went through a time in my life where I did have that, but again, like, it's just, I think it's a natural form of everyone's disability, and we all have our different life trajectories and like relationships with our disability. So I think I did go through that, but I was able to come out of it after a while.
I think my why me is a lot funnier. So me and my twin are fraternal, but we look the same. And we used to joke one of us would develop a rare illness, and we both did. So we're like, yeah, no, we kind of were asking for that. That's our bad. But also like the whole like, oh, I kind of deserve this. Like disability is not a punishment. I know a lot of the time when we get it, it's like, what did I do to deserve this? But yeah, like shit happens, quite honestly. I don't know why this happened to me. I don't know, like it's called idiopathic arthritis for me because they don't know why, but it's just, you know, them's the breaks. I don't know if that's a good attitude to have, but it's the one I have.
Yeah, I think mine mostly affected me in the classroom, in school. So even though I always had an intellectual disability, but I didn't really get my diagnosis until finishing up grade 3. So then going into grade 4, I have to find out I have to go into a much smaller class. I now have the same teacher for all the academics. It's a little bit trickier to make friends. And then I had to move schools too. So I'm thinking like, why me? Like, why do I have to now go into a special education program and learn differently, and I don't get to do other things like the regular kids get to do? And then, I don't know, I just think going into grade 10, just my mindset just shifted a little bit, and it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this hold me back. I can do stuff like what everybody else can do, even if my journey and my path looks slightly differently. But that just started leading me to do bigger and better things going into high school.
I definitely agree with that. I think that getting back into hockey and also meeting other successful visually impaired people, like that really started to shift my mindset. And I think every day it's like a process, you know what I mean? Like every day I think I'm working towards accepting everything and moving forward in so many different ways. So yeah, I'd say it's a gradual thing. I wouldn't say one day I just woke up and my whole mindset changed, but definitely at some point in my life, I think that mindset completely shifted to why not me, and that's what I always talk about and stand for now, is that I think I can really do anything no matter what disability I have or what boundaries are placed on me. There's no reason why I can't do whatever I put my heart and mind to, so yeah.
Do you guys want to play a little more of the game?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Marilou can read the next ones.
Okay. Okay. Something I can read.
Book.
Novel. Short story.
Dictionary. Bible.
Letter.
No. Like
Blog. Website.
Letters.
shush. Okay.
Sentence. Paragraph. Essay.
Guys, do you want another hint?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're reading something that is not a book, but it's also like a little
Menu. Receipt.
Magazine.
Poem.
Pamphlet.
Oh. There we go.
Okay, what was it?
I like that.
Magazine.
Okay.
My goal is to get
When
one.
you buy an item.
Purchase.
Shopping bag.
You
Well,
need
money.
Receipt, money,
Credit card.
cash.
No.
Cash, debit line.
When you buy something, you check
Bag,
for the
bag.
Receipt, size, code.
Price tag.
QR code.
Yes.
price. It's price, so it's closest.
Price,
So.
yeah, I'm taking it.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back.
No, did you have a question to ask, Marilou?
Yeah, no, I was just really curious about kind of your experience at the University of Calgary and kind of how's that been for you?
Okay, so for me, when I started the program, I was still walking on my own. I actually got sick in my second semester. It was very hard. Like, I'm in a theater program at school, so being in acting classes, having prof tell me I should not audition for the program because it's too hard for me. And I was like, please, I just lost like every sense of life I have. I need to keep acting, I beg of you. And so we kept in the class, but I went back to school. But I decided that like I was gonna use that for power because I'm lucky to have the opportunities I have, especially like everything that happened when I was younger to now. I'm so lucky to have the chance to do everything I do that I'm like, yes, it might be harder. Yes, I have less energy than I had, but I'm still gonna figure out a way to do it because sometimes I'm just lucky to be alive, so.
We're just gonna start from the top of scene 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and lights up.
Hey, can you pass me the tape?
Marilou is currently in dress rehearsals for a student-run production of Picking Up Pieces That Are Not My Own. Mia Joji is one of the play's co-directors.
So we actually did our auditions online. So we had everyone sent in videos. And I guess to be honest, I wasn't really thinking much about the disability. I was just looking at Marilou and her acting, and both me and Gabby, what we really loved about her performance was there was so much emotion in it. I mean, Marilou, she's genuinely such a wonderful, wonderful actress. You can just tell she's so passionate about what she does.
To the beginning of the end. Cheers.
And blackout.
Marilou has loved being on stage since she was a child.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Since I was young, I was always in the performing arts. As I was going through different things, mental health, family related, and when I was 15, I was in a play and I really felt like I could just get out of my head.
Yeah. Okay, do you guys want to run scene 4?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was so freeing to see different perspectives and be able to be joyful and enjoy a moment and just do something different that would not be me usually. And I really loved how I could make people laugh and change people's ideas and make people feel happy and safe in this moment.
Unfortunately, I still have that paper due at midnight.
Since Marilou's diagnosis, her use of mobility aids has affected how she presents herself, especially in auditions.
And I think Aubrey would like hearing that from you. But you're paying. So from the minute I walk in the room, sometimes I can even see the faces of people being like, oh, this is not what we wanted. But I still try to rise above and do my thing and prove them that even if I don't look maybe what they expected, that I'm still like hopefully talented enough to do it. I realized, especially with my program this year, that I have to make the opportunities sometimes. And even this play, this character, it was not written in it. And I just said, here is my work. And also before you cast me, I'm gonna tell you I have the cane and walker and everything, but it doesn't impact the ability I have for this. And sometimes it works, like for here, and sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't mean that I have less talent. It just means I have to advocate for myself and show up even when it feels scary too.
Like, I'm sorry.
A lot of disabled people have this. It happens from an unfortunate event.
Tragic story.
Something like, yup.
Trauma.
Me pulling that was insane. I'm like, oh. The card. Am I reading the cards or are the cards reading me?
Yeah. Are
I know
they
you were
calling
just
you
talking
out?
about that, so I was like,
That's kind of crazy. Okay. You have to do this to seek employment.
Oh,
Apply.
job interview.
Blah, blah, blah.
job interview, I like that.
You crack it open and then like,
Coconuts.
Can.
okay, you crack it open and then there's like paper inside.
Hello.
Oh, fortune cookie.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's a good one. That's a good
I like beer more though.
I think that's
I prefer a beer. Joe, can you tell us about your personal anecdotes with the education system and how it's not
built for persons with disabilities?
I always had this kind of fairy tale image in my mind, like when I was in high school. Like once I turn like 18, I enter university, and then as I grow older, that kind of people are going to stop stigmatizing my disability and stop treating me different. In second year, kind of my turning point in university when it started to go downhill was I was in communication, so one of my mandatory classes was nonverbal communication. The class was pretty much all about facial expressions, body language, and different media forms that are visual with no speaking. So pretty much everything that I can't do. So first day of class, I told my prof, like, hey, I don't know if I can do this class. It's all about like watching films and talking about the body language and facial expression of the characters. And he's like, talk to your accessibility rep, there's nothing I can do. My accessibility rep said, yeah, like, you're screwed, there's nothing we can do, you just gotta tough it out. And then I'm like, all right, kick rocks. And then I just kind of left university pretty much after that, so. Yeah, it wasn't a great story, and again, I could have went about that different ways. But yeah, I never just showed up. I mean, I finished that year of university, but I stopped going to that class because I was like, I don't know, there's just no point if they're not going to accommodate me. So I've definitely dealt with some bad experiences in university, as I'm sure a lot of you guys might have as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's hard when you're drawing that line between how much do I say to advocate for myself in a position that I need, because I feel like as persons with disabilities, we all have needs that we need to communicate, and not wanting to feel like a burden, I think, really stops from asking for everything that's needed and maybe trying to negotiate or compromise in certain positions. But it's ridiculous, quite frankly, when it comes to something that is necessary for, say, your education or, you know, your workplace, where you have things that you clearly need and you aren't able to get those things, not because of your lack of trying, but because of a system which, in place, kind of allows this idea of, oh, as long as we are saying that we have something and saying that we can do everything we can, that's good enough to get by in terms of maybe a legal way or representation.
The education system, like, it really is just not made for disabled people, like with disabled people in mind.
Yeah.
So then there's like just these rules that it won't bend, but it's like they should.
Yeah.
You know, so for example, in my school, they always said that they couldn't, you know, like just take PE out as a you know, like as a subject. Like, that's too unfair. You can't take it out.
Yeah.
So sometimes they would make me do a bunch of research on sports and like do an assignment every day. Sometimes they said you can do the assignment by computer once a week. And then like I would have like the worst grade on that, which is something that didn't like give me any substance of education in any single way, but it still lowered my grade. And so like I feel like a lot of the times people are scared that able-bodied people will complain about it, will be like, this is unfair. And that's the reason why they will not accommodate disabled people. And it plainly puts able-bodied people over disabled people. It just does. And it's just like, you cannot keep like, follow a system that's just not made for disabled people. That's why I think we need to overthrow everything. You know, like in conclusion.
And this overthrowing the government.
Yeah, overthrow the government.
Confirmed.
What about you, Marilou? When you went to university, were you accommodated?
So for the past year, I've been doing voice, acting, and movement classes. And honestly, I was so excited to do it, but when I got it, it was actually way harder. I know I was the first situation they had at the University of Calgary ever since my prof was there that had like a walker and everything. And so I went in, and at first I was pushing myself a bit too much, trying to do it all on my cane, making myself a bit flop around. And for the first semester, I was actually having trouble with my grades in acting because I overpushed myself so much that I was not improving in my acting. And so I started taking care better of myself. I started taking breaks when needed. And I was very more participating, and my grades actually helped and was improving more. Unfortunately, it was not enough since it took me longer than everyone else to get adapted because I had to learn how to adapt a non-accessible program to my condition. I did not evolve as much to get in the 400 program, which is the 3rd year. So I hope to re-audition and get in. So I'm gonna try to take classes on the side, get on a few shows, wink, wink, and just saying, if there's audition happening, let me know. And then like audition again, but it's gonna give me a chance to learn more about my disability, to be able to advocate for myself better, and hopefully help improve the program. But I think there's a way of making it better for everyone in the program.
Oh yeah, what a great mindset to have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back.
Okay, this is something that happens in the song that I'm gonna sing, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like, you know the, oh wait, Pompeii, that one. Pompeii.
Volcano? Erupt?
Yeah, volcano eruption. I was like, I don't remember the name of the song, so I'm gonna sing it.
That's so funny. You could just say Pompeii.
There's a movie with drums about this.
With drums?
Whiplash?
Drums, yes. Damn. Okay. Whiplash. Yes. Okay. When you go to the beach
Sunburn.
and you don't. Yes.
Of course, Joe got it right over.
Okay.
Joe.
Okay, next one, focus in.
Use that assistive technology.
Okay, I like this one actually. Actually, no, I don't. It's all right though.
Is it hot?
Okay, this could be something that I put on a necklace.
Hell yes, thank
So
you.
angry. So angry you're
should
getting that
be.
right. Okay.
Oh.
I can't even remember. I was saying too many words.
Gotcha.
All right, the last one. Okay, this is a really weird one. All right, it's a fruit.
Pomegranate.
Banana, kiwi,
Strawberry.
Apple. No,
banana.
Give a color or something.
Dragon fruit.
Orange.
Strawberry. Blueberry.
It's
Boysenberry.
Coconut.
it's a suit.
Raspberry. Raspberry.
All right, all right.
Great.
Let us give us a second.
Holy smokes, you guys are not getting it. All right. It's a worse version of an orange.
Clementine?
Tangerine. Tangerine. Oh, hey.
That's
Is that bad? I'm sorry, guys.
Marilou, I'm curious to know what role religion plays in your life and how it intersects with your disability.
So I was raised Catholic, and then I left that, and then when I moved to Calgary, I actually found myself back, and I'm now a Christian. I got baptized in 2023, and when I got sick last year with my physical disability, a lot of times I felt like I saw miracle things happen in prayer. I prayed for other people, and they got healed. And then I was in church, and they were talking about how sometimes people get healed, sometimes they don't. And it made me be very depressed for a while, because I thought that God hated me because I was not healed. But I realized that sometimes God uses your weaknesses for his own strength, and that maybe my story is gonna inspire others that like, God is not mad at you, it's just different timings. It's not our timeline. Like, I really believe that God has a plan for everyone. And there's a reason why there's people that are Christians that dies of cancer. There's a reason why everything happens. And if I'm healed one day, great. And if I'm not, well, I'm just gonna do cool things like this. But it was hard at first, very much.
Thank you for sharing that, Marilou.
Thank you.
All right, Anna, what are you saying?
I mean, everyone was always praying for me, which I appreciate. I feel like I appreciate it even more now. Like, everyone always like praying for me growing up. It always felt like once they were more like praying for me to like stop being disabled, you know, like completely, which is just not possible for me. They prayed for recoveries for my surgeries and fractures, which is like nice. But like, again, like it always like felt like you're like praying for like the disability to go away. And it's just, it always like left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. Now I identify as agnostic and spiritual, and I like to do witchcraft. So yeah, I just like, I mean, I see it in a way that's like, you know, like attuning to the earth and the universe and the energies that everybody has. And it doesn't mean that it goes away. It just means that you have like a little bit of help, or just, yeah.
Talking about religion, I think for me growing up, because I've had, the 6 brain surgeries and living in a brain tumor, I appreciate people who genuinely come to me and be like, I pray for your healing. But when they, because like for me, I believe in like the science, and like I know that there's something out there, I'm still on that path. And I had an experience once where there was someone who was really trying to get me into their religion. And she came to me when I was like in a really dark place, and she said, your tumor is growing because you don't believe. Oh. So I've had to really separate myself from some people because, again, like it varies from different religions and like how people mean it, but it's one of those things that like people don't talk about, especially when it comes to having the disability and the religion as well, right?
Marilou originally went to church in Calgary to visit a friend, but quickly started feeling drawn to the services.
It was so funny because I was sitting in that service and I was like, why does this relate to me? Why am I interested? Why do I want to buy this preacher's book? I was like, I don't want to be interested. I'm just here to see my friend. Like, why am I getting called? But like, I was just like, how is it possible that every time I come, I find something that speaks to me? And it kind of brought me to really wanting to learn more, and I started believing, and I knew that my place was meant to be here for some reason. Even if I'm still getting angry at the Lord and confused and kind of feel lost at times, I know He's rooting for me, even if I don't know what it means. There are many people around my age here, there, and so being able to find a community that helped me find that sense of self, and I was able to grow and read a Bible, which a lot of my Catholic family actually never did, apparently. It made me feel so much more sense of like strength, even going through all of those things with my health. I felt extremely empowered through those things, and I was really happy that I got to use all these challenges in my faith. I knew I was going to be okay. I believe He used all things for good, and I'm excited to see what He has planned for me, even with everything going on with my health. Like, even this, I believe it's a blessing from Him.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back.
Okay. Visa, MasterCard.
Credit cards. Oh, yes.
Dude, this guy said MasterCard.
I need to
Oh, yeah,
Don't care.
Nah, that one counts.
So
counts. Okay. It's where you sleep.
Bed. Couch.
The
Hammock.
Bedroom.
And
money to a nonprofit could also
Donation.
Donation, charity, taxable receipt.
combine two of the words that were just said.
Charity, party donation. Charity receipt, donation.
Charitable donation.
Tax receipt.
Charity donation? Marilou, could you tell us a bit more about your experience in the foster care system?
Yeah, so growing up, my family, like, they're great people, but we had, like, troubles and everything. And as I got as a teenager, there was more going on at home, and I could not express myself well. And I got things, like, really badly with my family, and I started living with my grandparents, and things happened, it did not work out, and there was like a very big lack of communication in my family. So it brought me to get into the foster care system at 15 years old. I was there for a few months and it was not working with my family, but then they put me on a living alone program at 16 years old. So I had my check of $500 something every month, which is not a lot, but my apartment was $600, so I was managing with like 2 jobs and everything. And then when I got cut, I was working, I was doing everything, but I remember not even being able to afford a water bottle at work. And I was really struggling. It actually got really bad for me. And that's kind of how I decided to create Foster Empower, my not-for-profit, because I was like, there is a lack of support, especially when you aged out. No social worker prepared me for it. So when I aged out, I was not ready for that. And thank goodness I had a few people. I was reconnecting with my family at the time, so I had their support. And my grandma was great. She was bringing me meals and stuff, but there was times when I was choosing, do I buy food for myself or for my cat? And so for me, in that moment, it made me realize how important it was to have options. So I promised myself as I was trying to find solution and thinking if I should end my life at this point because of everything, I was like, if I get out of this, I'm gonna be the solution, because there was no solution for me to find in the moment. But I promised myself that day I would create my not-for-profit. So Foster Empower officially launched actually on May 1st, which was a few weeks back. Wow. And it's an organization helping youth aging out of the care system so that they can actually accomplish their goals and dreams, and they don't have to let the odds and the things happen to them beat them.
Through Foster Empower, Marilou hopes to provide essential items to youth living on their own.
Right now, it's a lot of like self-care that we got, but there's gonna be more about like hygiene products, like cleaning products, kitchen things, and growing from there.
One area she wants to focus on is hobbies.
So a lot of like hobbies, because hobbies can help you a lot, but hobbies are expensive and it's very hard for someone to get started. So my goal is to organize different activities for people to join in and learn, and that will be open to everyone in care or not, so that people that are not in care and can afford to donate a bit can participate, donate, and learn what we're doing.
One hobby that Marilou started while she was living on her own is pageantry. While she's always loved watching them, it wasn't until a scouting company reached out to her that she thought about competing.
One day I got a message from a company to scout me. And I was like, wait, do I have that potential? And I just started having dreams about it and stuff. And I was like, you know what? That could be fun. Especially during COVID, I was trying to find a hobby, something to do.
These are my most recent pageant sashes. I have been Miss Teen Personality Atlantic Provinces and Canada 2022-2023. And then I was awarded the title of Miss Teen Personality North America 2024-2025.
Contestants often give a speech about a platform or social cause that's important to them. Knowing she could use her experiences in her platform and also create a nonprofit helped Marilou through her darkest times.
In August 2022, it's when I aged out, and things were not going well financially and everything, which took a toll on my body, mentally and physically, which also affected my reign because I did not have the money or time or energy to invest in my events and my appearance as Miss Teen Personality Canada. But that's when I realized that I have a bigger story and purpose that could be told. And I was like, I have a national platform right now. Not a lot of people can talk about this and understand what it's truly going through. And I was like, right now I'm looking for options, solution, help, and there's nothing online to help me. And I was like, you know what? Right now, I would rather not be alive, but I'm gonna use this story and I'm gonna change it for a better purpose. I'm gonna use this story to help others that are also going through that time so that I would find meaning in my situation, but also be able to use it for a bigger purpose. And that's kind of was my push to be able to continue going through everything and living my feelings even when everything was pushing me down, to not give up, to stay alive, to be here, to move to Calgary, stay here. Even when I was in an unstable housing situation all summer, I did it. And it's still hard, I'm not gonna lie, but I figured it out.
Going back to the two jobs thing,
Yes.
like I grew up kind of like paycheck to paycheck, and so I worked a lot to put myself through university to the point where like it really worsened my disabilities. And I feel like you can relate, and I just want to hear more about that because I feel like we don't talk a lot about financial independence, especially as disabled young adults.
Yes, so in the time when I did like two jobs, I was in high school senior year. Let's go, COVID. It was 2020, 2021. Keep in mind, I was deaf, working with people in hotels and in a sports center with masks.
Oh. Yep.
I had a mask saying, I read lips, leave me alone, because I was so tired of getting screamed at by people because I could not hear them. I'm like, I was like having to pay my bills, having to pay my things, and it was really stressful because it was like on and off, and actually was worsening my health at times because I was like focusing on I need to pay my bills. I need to do this. Like even sometimes I'm like, I'm exhausted, I need a break of school because my health is worsening, but then I'm like, no, I need student loans or something so I can pay my bills. So it's like very hard to be able to find a balance. I think at the end of the day, like I'm starting to learn how to listen to my body, especially with like Ehlers-Danlos finally being diagnosed. I'm like, you have no choice and you have a diagnosis now, so you cannot ignore it anymore.
I love that. There's this saying like, if you don't rest, your body will make you rest.
Yeah, and I honestly, like even when I got sick, I was not resting. So everyone were like, maybe that's why you got sick. And I was like, maybe.
Got Game will return after the break. Got Game is back.
This thing, okay, I can't say, That's a fun one, but I don't know if, okay.
This is like a...
Okay, musicals.
So Broadway.
People,
Broadway, theater, show,
artists,
Theater.
actors, musicians,
Crowd.
musicals, triple
Performers.
dancers.
And Broadway.
It's something that they do within the triple threat.
Dancers, singers,
Clapping.
Yeah, there you go.
What did you say?
Clapping.
I don't know what a triple threat is. I don't even know what a triple threat is.
Ooh. Okay. You see these when
Ghosts.
people are doing
Stars.
pageants.
hallucinations. Oh,
And they're
Wait,
wearing.
I'm deaf, I can't
go.
hear.
Sorry. Okay, people wear these when they're doing pageants.
Crowns.
Nope.
Sashes.
Nope. So,
Heels.
Dresses.
there you go. How you There we go.
Oh, that's so many things.
I know, I gotta hear bubbles.
Everyone.
You got a pageant card, you got a hockey card, I got a trauma card.
Hello, pretty.
Hi.
I love this dress.
Thank you.
It is gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna sash and crown you, and let's do some evening gown.
In previous pageants, Marilou has competed over the internet. But with her first onstage pageant coming up this summer, she started working with pageant coach Alicia Brown.
Oh yeah.
Marilou is so resilient. She is somebody who I see overcome consistently. She has literally stood up in the face of her disability and showed all of us what resilience really looks like. I think she's someone who never gives up. She will never give up. She's just someone who will never stop until she reaches her goal. And I think that's so admirable.
Cool, let's try your entrance.
Okay. Whether I'm walking or not on my own at that time, I'm still not gonna be the best walk. I might struggle a bit more, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. It just means that I get to show my personality and who I am and prove to everyone that if you have a dream, you don't give up, you just go for it.
Amazing. Okay, try it one more time.
Okay.
Really lengthen your chin up. Okay. Think about you're meeting the queen. Yeah, I know, very fancy.
It's also about just being able to represent now not only just like my mission about mental health, about youth aging out, and like talking about those very hard things that a lot of people are dealing with, but also getting to show disabilities on stage. And it's a mission that's bigger than myself. It's to help others and create a better chance for many others to see themselves on stage or in any areas of their life and be able to create something that's bigger than me and empowers many more. And I'm just excited to get to do that.
And then bye, everyone. Oh, good girl. That was awesome, miss.
In the past few months, I had this change of mindset that my disability doesn't make that I'm less. It just makes that I have to do things differently and accept my body.
And you're gonna get a new pretty crown to add. Oh, your first Miss crown.
I know. My first in-person competition, my first Miss competition, and hopefully my first Miss crown.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Because I don't know, maybe one day I'll be able to walk on my own again, and maybe one day I'll be in a wheelchair. And that's my life, but it doesn't mean that it can't be inspiring, and it doesn't mean I can't do everything I was doing before. I just need to learn how to do it safely.
I guess with one of my questions for you is like, because you do the acting and you do the modeling.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you kind of had to face being in that kind of industry.
Now with the physical thing, often it's people looking down at me like, why are you a beauty queen? Because you don't look like a beauty queen. And it's like, well, first of all, it's not about beauty, it's about personality. It's literally in the title. And also it's just for me, like, I love that so much. Even like sometimes I have friends and family be like, it's a lot for you with your health, with school. But I also love it so much. It feeds my soul. But also, I think so many people don't see the beauty there is in having disabilities, and showing that on stage this summer, which is terrifying for me because I never had like my cane or walker with me on stage, but doing that is, I kind of hope someone in the audience, like a young girl, is like, hey, I could be there one day too, which is kind of why I started pageants in the first place, so.
You guys want to play the game for a bit again?
There's a festival of that going on right now in Ottawa. Yes.
Oh, nice. You were fast.
Yeah.
Anna, this one, you need to know this.
Oh, I try so hard, I swear.
French.
Someone who writes a book.
Author.
No.
Ghostwriter.
Songwriter.
Illustrator.
Someone that writes a book.
Okay, no.
Editor.
Like, or just an essay. You're
Essay.
Blogger.
no, but like,
Writer.
Tag writer.
guys, you need another hint. Okay.
Okay.
Editor.
Editor. Okay.
No. So when you're stuck.
Writer's block.
I can't believe you took this from me. You took this from me.
Okay, it's a type of fish.
Nemo.
Clownfish.
No.
Goldfish.
Salmon.
Yes.
Salmon. Oh.
Hell
Yeah, that's right.
Did you say Nemo and you say clownfish?
I said Dory.
Yeah, you said
Are you gonna get
It's the only thing I think of. I hear fish, I just think of Nemo.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I want to say thank you to everyone at the table for your contributions.
Marilou, it's been so great getting to know you over the course of this episode. And that is Got Game.
Producer, Tim Alp. Associate producer and host, Joshua Ung.
Developed by Joshua Ung, Tim Alp. Written and story edited by Maureen Carter. Integrated described video specialist, M. Williams. Supervising producer, Jennifer Johnson. Content development specialist, Karen McGee. Director, programming, Lisa Ann Gagne. Director, content development and production, Kara Nye.
Produced for AMI by Mountain Road Productions. Copyright 2025, Accessible Media Inc.
An AMI original production.